I would like to thank all you guys here, right? Because I know that you're all working diligently and consistently and persistently to accomplish your goals and objectives. All of our goals and objectives is to help you to accomplish what it is that you're after. And there's two individuals here that I'd like to give a shout out to. One is Jose, because without Jose, I wouldn't be doing what we're doing right now. He had the persistence to keep asking me. The second is the guy who explained it to me and allowed me to be able to see it, which is this guy right here. And Lars also helped me to overcome a mental hurdle, which was to do this 100%. So I'm appreciative of you guys. I think what we're doing is exciting, and the intention is to just keep expanding and keep growing.
Yeah, and I'll add to that. I mean, you guys are under some amazing leadership here. There was a time where there was a weird moment where we were kind of talking on a weekly basis and just not weekly, every other week we were talking.
Yeah.
Just kind of figuring things out.
Yeah.
What's your priorities and what do you want to focus on? What do you want to be when you grow up? And there was a point at which it got weird. Where what's the expression where like the student becomes the teacher?
Yeah.
Where he was asking me questions and he was getting inside my head and I'm just like, this is not.
He actually stopped it mid-call. He's like, wait a minute.
We're not doing this. But I hear him talk now and his vision for what, Elite Builders is going to be. This is ground floor. Like you guys will remember, remember like just the 12 of us that were in a room, and then there's going to be like 1,200 people that are going to be in a room, and it's all going to be your tribe. So it's like, this is like literally ground floor.
Yeah.
And I know you see it clearly.
I do.
I mean, 90% of the growth in my group of 1,600 agents, 90% of it is coming from this group.
Yeah.
That is now like, everything he thinks about is in terms of like, if somebody wants to do attraction, how can I help them build it out in a way where it's going to duplicate? Mm-hmm. And the cool thing is that whatever your goals are around attraction, well, I'll say production, it's production. It'll always be there. You can always go out and sell homes. I've sold a lot of homes. I've coached a lot of people. There's nothing more leveraged than this opportunity in terms of, so just try to think of ways, even if you're not focusing on it now, try to think of ways to integrate it into some part of your production, because there's just nothing like it. Mm-hmm. It's like, I was anti-MLM as much as you could ever be, but the financial opportunity with this multi-level opportunity is unbelievable. And so, it builds a little, like nobody built to 1,000 agents themselves. There's literally no agent in the company that has 1,000 agents on their front line. There are guys that have 10,000 people in their organization have 50 agents that they recruit. If you think about that.
It's unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. I bet you Brent only recruited, he probably has turnover, but maybe 150 agents total in his career, and he makes $1 million a month. You wouldn't have a job at another brokerage if you were a recruiter and you only recruited like 200 agents in 6 years.
Yeah.
Like you would not be employed at even 15 grand a month if that was and he gets paid $1 million a month. And all he does is events.
That's it.
Right?
That's it.
So he's a smart guy. And if you ever want to get like mind screwed about like attraction and what it could do, just to sit with him for, even last night you did it. Yeah. I'm like, man, I'm not all in. Shit. It's like I cannot sit next to this guy because it makes me realize I still have one foot in each. Yeah. And so I can't wait till you guys are just like running your own events, and it's going to be awesome.
Yeah. The gala's the first of those. So.
Yeah.
You got anything, Jose?
Yeah, I just like to say thank you to everybody for being here tonight. Thank you to Lars as well too for reaching out to me. It's funny because when I spoke with Lars first, he told me that most people take 8 touches, a minimum 8 touches, and he gave me like 3 or 4 different touches, and then he was like, hey, what are we doing? And kind of like gave me that little extra push that I needed. For all of you guys here, the crazy thing about this thing, just like they're saying, is you don't need that many people. Like one quarter I made a goal to bring on 40 agents. I didn't bring on a single agent. The next quarter I only made a goal to bring on 2 people. And the 2 people were Vicente and Aaron. And I said, I thought to myself, I didn't realize that once I brought those 2 people on, the entire organization would change, meaning like we would have like this crazy amount of leadership happening, and you don't need a lot of agents. Like I think John brought on Lars, and Lars is probably like what, 70, 60, 80% of
Hey, who's counting? I don't
John.
know. He's like 80.
But that could be for anybody.
Anybody.
He's 80%, so you never know. Like a lot of times we think like, oh, we got to go out and talk to like 100 people. Like literally, you bring on one builder, that person can build like the entire organization for you guys. So it's not even like oh, I gotta bring on 100. It's like, look, one person can change the organization.
Yeah, Sheila Fejeron brought
Brent
Gove
Gove,
into the organization.
one person.
She met him in like a 2-minute conversation at like a Star Power event or some like random event, and he didn't even remember her. And she called him up and she's like, I need your opinion on this. Like we met, and he's like, oh, he's trying to be polite.
And for her, that one person like built out the entire thing. Just same thing with John. John brought on Lars. It's the same thing. So I think I'm proud of everything that everybody is doing. I see the vision, and I'm here to help in any way that I possibly can.
And you guys
everybody.
have way more support than you even realize. In production and attraction, and if life goes sideways, I'm sure there's not people in your organization that haven't been through everything, or somebody we can connect you with that hasn't been through like whatever you're going through.
Yeah.
Like it's definitely more than real estate.
I'm curious, how do you guys know each other?
So I actually was part of Real Estate B School, was part of their coaching program. And then it was funny because when I told people that I was thinking about eXp, Lars called Angel Garcia, my best friend, and then Angel was like, I'm not interested, but Lars asked him, who do you know that would potentially consider
Like a good
this?
salesperson.
Like just asking for a referral, and Lars said, Jose's actually considering it right now.
Wow.
But then when I thought about the organization, like there's a lot of people you can pick as partners. I was like, who is no BS, who's ethical, who really knows.
I mean, good looking.
Good looking, yeah. That was at the very bottom. I'm kidding. No,
You're standing next to the most modest person.
but and then I there's a lot of people in this industry that will like flaunt like oh I make $1 million a year, but you look at the bottom line and it's not really what they say that they are. You look at like their lifestyle, it looks flossy, but you look at the money in the bank and there's really nothing there. So I wanted somebody that wasn't like that, meaning I wanted somebody that like I didn't have to worry about like if he tells me to do something that it was going to put me in a bad financial position, or any of us. Not only that, but I think what I thought about when I joined, I was like, okay, like we need a leadership team and we need different people that are going to provide different things to the company. And I was like, if somebody wants to build a team, there's no better person than Lars to help you do that. If somebody wants to become the best listing agent, I don't think that there's anybody else better than Aaron to help you do that. So the vision was to have different people that are the very best at what they do, and then put them together in one organization when they can help everybody on the team to accomplish whatever it is that they want to accomplish. I think my gift is probably social and maybe investing. So if somebody wants to learn about investing or somebody wants to learn about social, I can help with that. So it was kind of like, okay, different people that can help with everybody. Like Brian's helping the Spanish speakers as well too. So there's different people, the leadership team. So that was kind of the vision with it. But
You guys still have to get Angel.
Angel? Yeah.
We're working on it.
We're working on him, to be honest. That's off camera, but yeah. We are.
It's off camera.
He's actually a lot closer than you think.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
The Tuesday production masterminds are great too.
Thanks.
Yeah. So thanks for doing that.
Yeah, that's a great thing to just invite. Even if you don't think you're going to do attraction, just become the agent that invites all your friends to the Tuesday calls.
Yeah.
Because they don't have to be in eXp for that to happen. Okay.
No,
And then Thursdays are
mastermind.
new with Chad.
Yeah, those are technically, you're not supposed to be outside of our group to go to those, but the Tuesday call is for everybody.
Yeah, but we couldn't be proud of the upline that we have. To be
Yeah,
quite
for
honest.
legit.
Like, to be honest, like if I hadn't selected you as a partner, Aaron would have never gone full time in this opportunity because you had certain conversations with him that challenged the way that he thought. And then I'm going to be going full time in a year and a half. So I had not seen Aaron do it, I probably wouldn't have done it. So I'm guessing that'll have a ripple effect in the organization where eventually other people get to a point where they're full-time as well too into the opportunity. So
I was in the Icon Lounge today and I met a lady. She was 65 years roughly. And she said, I've Icon 6 times. She said, I'm a mentor. And she said, and I'm being pulled so many directions. And I said, well, what about your support? Who's above you that you can seek for help? And she said, I have no one. And it occurred to me, just what you just described, your vision, and what we do have, is really rich.
Yeah.
It's an amazing opportunity.
I agree.
We're in the right place at the right time.
With the right people.
And we do take feedback, like, so for example, like the feedback that you were giving us earlier today about having like a mastermind whenever we come to these events, like I think we're just so like entry level in it. And I think what Lars said about it, that like it's one day we'll look back and be like, hey, look, remember that room when there was just 12 of us in that suite when
Well,
Lars was in that room?
John said the other day he's only been with the company 3 years. How long have you been with the company?
3 years and 3 days.
3 years, man.
No, 3 days less than that.
Yeah,
So September 11th, he was September 8th.
right. So you see what I'm saying? Like this is not like, I think in your mind you imagine like, oh, it's going to take like 20 years. No,
Yeah.
it can happen in a very short period of time
Yeah.
because of how leveraged the opportunity is, the fact that it compounds, all that stuff.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Yeah. And it's crazy because, like, at least the way I've seen it, because I've been a little bit longer than most of everybody.
Because you've been with the
in
company
here.
3 years.
I've been with the company, like, I think right when Lars joined, probably like within 3-4 months. And it's funny because probably when Lars brought me on, he probably didn't think nothing of it at that time. He's just like, oh,
I didn't
it's,
know what to think at
no,
the beginning. I was just praying that
It worked?
worked.
it's kinda like he just brought another agent, but what he didn't realize is that I had a relationship with a guy that can build like crazy. So sometimes you never know who you bring on. Like that one person that like you bring on, it's like, oh, whatever, you know? That person could have a relationship to the other individual that helps build the entire organization for you. Like, which that's the crazy part
You
about
don't
this
know who
opportunity.
anyone knows.
Yeah, like had he known that I knew Aaron or Aaron was gonna be who he was gonna be, dude.
So everybody in here is a game changer, except those two. And they have been heavily recruited by every other person in eXp. And they're just here checking it out, seeing how we do our thing.
Yes.
We got Lars here. Lars is kind of the OG of this group.
Nice to meet you. Yes, same.
If you watch the video that Dan sent you, all this Lars guy that's talking, right here. Yes, he's OG.
In the flesh.
Yep. And he's helped many people in this room develop businesses that have taken us to financial freedom. But what eXp has done on top of that model is given us location freedom and also time freedom. Because a lot of us, you know, we're working really, really hard, we're doing the thing, we're getting freedom in our business through leverage, but we're still maybe not getting as much time freedom as we want and certainly not getting location freedom. And that's what eXp kind of bolted onto this. So when you watch that video and you see all the things that you get, a lot of us in here have had changed businesses because of this man right next to you.
Yes.
And I
He
definitely want
looks
you to
very
know
tired
that.
at the moment.
He is. He's super
I
tired.
worked like 3 hours ago.
John, can you talk about the difference between like when you built the team and now having the leverage opportunity of building the downline?
Yeah, like I was anti-eXp for a long time. I thought I knew what eXp was about, and I really believed that like having an independent was the way to go. And I think Lars, you probably shared that at one time or another. Like it didn't matter who you were with. It was like it's how we build systems in our business because all of the brokerages that are out there at that point, they don't have enough of a difference to really valid the point. It's like, dude, you're still gonna be like grinding away. So unless you build systems and processes that give you leveraged freedom through a team, like you're gonna be stuck in that same kind of hamster wheel. So when I first started coaching with Lars, I was heavily into production, and I had a very successful team by all outside measures. So from the outside looking in, it was like, this is a killer team. And we were #1 in our marketplace, and we were doing a lot of production. But what I saw on him was that he wasn't in production, and he had a bigger team than me down in Charlotte, which was like the neighboring market. Yeah, that's good. You're in Charlotte?
I'm from Charlotte. I was
Oh
born
my
in
gosh.
Charlotte. Yeah, my father's family.
So I was doing like 250 transactions a year up at Lake Norman.
Oh my God.
With a good average sale price, but he was doing 500 down in Charlotte. And we both started at the same Remax, which is also crazy and weird. And he started his coaching company. I was like, well, he's not really going to coach me because we're in the same market. Like, he's not going to give me all the goods. He's going to he's going to sell me coaching.
Maybe all the mistakes.
Yeah. And it took me about a year to get over that and like recognize that this guy's heart was in the right place. And I called him up and I said, hey man, like here's where I'm at, and I don't know if you can help me. I don't know if you want to help me because we're in the same market. And he said, I will help you, and I guarantee that we're going to make you more profitable being out of production than you are in production. And I honestly didn't believe it. But I was like, okay, if you're going to guarantee me, I'm going to put all my trust in you, and I'm going to do everything you tell me to do, and if it doesn't work, it's on you. And he was like, he was comfortable with that. And the fact that you were comfortable with that made me comfortable with that. And I was like, let's go. And so I was like, I'm going to do everything this guy tells me to do. And sure enough, June 3rd, 2015 was the last real estate transaction that I was involved in. Now, we had conversations, and I was like, I love doing real estate sales. Like, I'm never going to want to give that up because I get a lot of energy from it. Like, did anybody feel like they get, like, significance from doing real estate deals? Like, I was like, that's my juice, man. Like, I feel, when I'm going down the road and I'm, like, negotiating, like, 10 contracts, I feel like the man. And I didn't want to give that up. But he said, I promise you'll feel more like the man when you're doing that many deals times 2 and you're not involved in any of them. And I was like, let's see. And we did that, and within 1 year of working with him, I was out of sales. Within 2.5 years of working with him, I was out of the day-to-day. And I was making more money and more profit than when I was in sales. And it literally changed my life. So when I came into eXp, the natural first person I wanted to talk to was him, because we both felt the same way about eXp. We're like, we're never doing it. It's a Ponzi scheme. It sounds like network marketing, and like we already have successful companies. Why would we give it to them? And what I didn't understand was that eXp didn't want to be my brand. They wanted me to be the brand. They just wanted me to platform that I operated on. And they were going to give me all the tools and resources to scale, which was something very hard for me to do, because every time I brought an agent on, it taxed my staff, it taxed me, it taxed my lead generation system. And I was like, man, like this is a better way. And I called him up. I was very nervous. I remember where I was, when I was, on the day I called him.
Do you remember what you said?
Yeah. I first I wrote a letter to my team, because I was on my way to fly to North Carolina from Bozeman, where I had relocated, and I was going to tell my team that we were coming to eXp, and I was very nervous about this because I was like publicly like anti-eXp guy. And so I wrote this future letter. I was like, this is what it's going to be like in a year. I wrote it all out. Like, it's going to be better, and I'm going to be able to like feed into you guys. It's going to be awesome. And I felt so empowered when I got done writing this future letter to my team that I was going to share with them, that I went out on the porch. She was sitting out there. It was like a sunny day.
I remember.
It was like winter was just over, sunny day. It was like great. And
he was like, I'm going to read this to you. And then I think I'm going to call Lars.
And then I'm going to call Lars. And I read it to her, and I was like, I'm calling Lars. I felt so empowered. And I called him up, and I was all like nervous. And I said, Lars, I said, I got to tell you something.
Or are you sitting down?
Yeah, are you sitting down? And he's like,
I'm like, shit, I thought cancer or divorce.
Yep.
I'm not even kidding. First two things, he was so serious.
And I said, I'm going to move my team to eXp. And Lars said, I thought we were never going to do that.
My hands started sweating, and I think I went into palpitation.
He said to me, I quote, he goes, I just threw up in my mouth. And I said, I feel the same way, but have you actually sat down and studied the model? And he had like just a little bit of a pause on that, and I said, Lars, you and I are influencers in this industry. You're running an amazing coaching company. Don't you think it would make sense for you to understand the model that you're saying no to? And he's like, send me the video. And I sent it to him. And we went through back and forth, back and forth. I always call it like the analogy of like you're fishing, right? And as soon as there's tension on the line, you want to like reel it in. So I was like, just keeping tension on the line. I'm like, he's willing to watch the video, send him a video. He's like texting me. I'm like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. 4 days later, you're at eXp.
It was Saturday to Friday.
Saturday to Friday.
I had to break up with a business partner.
But you were like verbally all in within 4 days.
Pretty much by the end of Sunday, I think I was in.
Yeah.
Now,
Just had to figure out logistics.
And he had a lot of logistics of money. He had a business partnership in a team that was doing 500 deals a year.
And a multiple seven-figure coaching company.
Yeah, multiple
I don't know how
seven-figure
people
coaching company.
Are going to react.
Yep.
But
And we did
I
it.
did it.
And I was like, oh, dude, whatever you need, I'm all there. And we just kind of like went to work on this, and like his
He
coaching
literally
guy.
wrote the script that I used to call. I read the script. Remember I called one guy and he called me back afterwards. He's like, "You sound really nervous."
Lars,
I'm like, "I am really nervous."
I was like, dude, you gotta send me your top 100 list. And Lars sent me like 650 people. And it was like, I got the list at like 10 o'clock at night. And I was like, all right, I gotta make this easy on Lars. So I went through the list in the eXp directory, and I went like till 4 in the morning. I went through every person on the list to scrub it so that he didn't have to waste time calling somebody that wasn't on the list. And like the next day, he just attacked that list, and like him and I just went on a tear together. And it was like three-way call and conversation, three-way call and conversation. And like it just blew up, man. And like we broke the record to 1,000. Like nobody's done it faster than us. But we were just like all in and intentional. We felt, I think the difference is people get into eXp and they say yes to it and they want to recruit agents. We felt indebted to all the agents that we said that it wasn't the right model, because we were coaches and we were influencers and we like cared about the people that trusted us. And we felt an indebtedness to tell them like we were wrong. And it's amazing, and like you have to understand it, because we didn't and we missed it, and we don't want you to miss it. I think what makes our organization different and special is that I know we care like super much. Like we have been successful, and we broke the record in this company because we don't get people. We help people be successful. And over and over and over again, we proved that out with you. And like, we're like, we got you. Like, come on in, we got you. We got you. Like, trust us, we got you. We're gonna be there. Like, when do you ever call us and we're not there? Never.
Instant response. Yeah, all the time.
Like, and I don't want to like overpromise and underdeliver ever.
It happens that way.
And I'm like, sometimes I might not be able to instantly respond. But what's interesting about an organization like this is that you might get 200 people that say yes, and there'll be like 10 people that show up tomorrow. And there'll be like 10 people that show up the next day. And I'm like, I don't even know what leg you're on. You're like my third or fourth leg, but I'm always there for you because you show up. And if you show up, I'm gonna show up.
That's right.
And I love this business, and I love what we're doing, and the alignment's amazing. So I just think that's something special that we offer, coupled with we've all done real estate sales at the highest level, you especially, and what you built out and offer to all these guys is like unparalleled. I spent over $500,000 in coaching. I'd coach with like everybody in the industry, and nobody did what you did for me. And now you package all that up and you offer it for free. It's $22,000 a year to coach with him if you're not with eXp. And everyone in this room that's with us has the ability to get that for free. That's amazing.
And we didn't come up with some like value proposition for the purposes of building revenue share. It's like we had done stuff in the industry, and we just wanted to share that with a bigger platform and have a bigger impact.
Yep.
You know, and there's nothing wrong with coming up with stuff now, because it's like there is. I mean, everyone's talking to everybody. You know, there's these different legs, and people are. You know, I just tell people like just make sure you know the heart of the person that you're joining, and make sure you meet like the 3 or 4 leaders in your line to make sure they're all available. And they're going to be there personally, professionally, on production side, and make sure they've done the things that you actually want to do, and they can guide and lead you through it. Period. Because anyone can say anything and sort of like, you know, dog and pony show, whatever it's called. But then when it comes down to it, just make sure they can deliver.
There's a lot of aggressive recruiters in this company today, and we've seen a lot come in the last 3 years. And there's a lot of people that were aggressive years ago And you know, the beauty of this model is that someday you can be free. Like you could be making so much money that you're just like, I'm not working and I don't want to work and I don't have to work. And like, that's the goal for all of us, right? But there's a lot of people that came up through the ranks that live on an island and are free. And they're not doing what needs to happen for you today. And like what needs to happen for you to be successful is you and I need to get on three-way calls with people, because if you try to recruit them yourself, even if you could, that model won't duplicate. And there's like aggressive guys that are recruiting, but if they're the guy, you're never gonna scale. Like it has to be all of us working together. You, me, Dan, Lars. And that combination of us doing three-way calls, we can get anybody.
Yeah, you want to.
You're gonna put us in front of that we can't recruit, because we've done it at every level. And I think that when people struggle at eXp, it's because you got an opportunity to speak to somebody that had 50 agents, and that could have changed your life, but you didn't get them because you put them in front of somebody that couldn't get them.
Yep. Yeah, you want to follow a process that a dud can recruit a stud. So and I think what I've learned is it's always away from you. Everybody has the tendency, because we think like technicians, because we sold real estate in high volume, so you're like, what do I need to do? And instead, it's a simple process, which is tools first. You notice, you heard a video a bunch of times, tools. Back in the day, it used to be DVDs. Great news is we don't have to buy them now. On YouTube, you can send videos at scale, and it doesn't cost you anything. So videos. The second is events.
Yes.
Right? Because people try to do high tech without high touch. It does not work. Period. I don't care how good your CRM is. I don't care if you're dripping on them and sending them videos and shit. If you're not in front of them, this is a people business, right? So it's tools, events, and third-party calls. And learning the structure of that third-party call, and always trying to get people to it. So if somebody's like, hey, why'd you join eXp? Well, there's many reasons why. I'm curious. Have you been thinking about it? I'm curious, what about the model is interesting to you? And they say blah, 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 and you're like, yeah, that's part of the reason why I joined. I'm wondering if I could get you on a third-party call with my senior partner, John, or my senior partner, Lars, or my senior partner, Aaron, for like 30 minutes. They can answer these questions for you to see if it makes sense for you and your family and your business in that order. You, your family, and your business. Would that be helpful or useful to you? Like, yeah, it'd be great. Boom, get them on the call, and then let them do their thing. If you follow that process, that scales, yeah.
How many people have your organization?
194.
184 people. And this is your suite?
Yeah.
Because that's the level of leadership that's being produced out of this organization. It's not our suite, it's his suite. And you have so many of your people here.
Yeah.
And it's that next level leadership. If leadership isn't cultivating more leadership, it's not really leadership. It's just work ethic and hustle. So what I'm proud of is like our leadership is birthing new leadership like you and others who have other suites in this place, and it's duplicating. This doesn't work if it doesn't duplicate.
Correct.
There's no like you and one person that can make this happen to your goals. It's all of us working together in unison, creating more levels of leadership that will duplicate into infinity.
Agreed. And the thing that stays in my mind all the time is if it doesn't duplicate, don't do it.
Yeah, of course.
If it doesn't duplicate, don't do it.
Everybody, there's cups and ice, so you're dying of thirst.
Where's the water?
It's in that bottle. Wait, I think, yeah.
Yeah, I like, exactly. And it's figuring out like, how can I still have impact and make a good like living? Yeah, and what this vehicle does is it provides us with that opportunity. Because before it was just commissions. Now you can get equity, you can have other opportunities. Oh, we're about to get a workout in.
Yeah.
About to show this guy what's up. You know, he hoops me up, but then when we get in the gym, it's another story.
I think I'll outlift you still, bro.
You think so? I mean, you might. You're bigger than me.
I think outlifting, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But I think I'll be close.
I don't think so.
And I'm, what am I, like 8 years older than you?
Yeah, that's fine. Are you making
No excuses, bro. No excuses. None at all.
I've been going hard from the night into the daylight, telling them all that yesterday's price is not the same price. Eating up what's for breakfast, I can tell you what it tastes like. Wake up and I see red and I still don't got no brake lights. Yeah, feeling super fly. I look in the mirror, see ambition in my eyes. Got more than one formula, they love the way I drive. Yeah, I've been a prize, there's no need to be surprised.
Hey, you know, like you talked all that shit, bro, on the basketball court. But now what's happening, bro, huh? Let's go, Hosey. Because if you really want to build muscle, you need to consume like 150 grams of protein a day.
A day.
And it's also blood sugar regulation. So like in the past, you know how like we went so long yesterday without eating?
Yeah.
Your blood sugar like drops really low. And when you eat shit that is like fast burning,
Yeah.
what happens is it spikes and then drops. So what I was feeling is it would spike, drop, and then you get like really lethargic in the afternoon, like 2, 3 o'clock, you need a coffee or something.
Break it down. What's the routine for Aaron after a workout?
Yeah, so the routine is after the workout, I just did some aminos, some creatine, and some glutamine, all to help with recovery. And now we're doing some Previnex. Shout out to Previnex. I'd love to be a sponsor for you guys. I love your product. I think it's dope. And it's just a clean source of protein. So we get this in right after the workout. And then we'll have our first meal of the day. First meal of the day will consist of, protein, a little bit of carbs. And then we're off to the races, baby.
I'm gonna get me some bacon. I'm gonna get me some sausage. I'm gonna get me some eggs.
Bro, he's got
pancakes. I'm just kidding.
Hey, he's got to do something to feed the pancito. You know what I'm saying?
No, it's called the panzota.
Panzota. I see.
It's got to be
bad. Hey, so I'm on a mission to ensure that he shows up in that area because he's an amazing leader. He's an amazing human, and the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. So if you see him out in public, be like, "Hey, bro, how's the pancita?"
Coming along. Yeah, and then touch it if you want.
And together as a team, no, don't touch, bro. But together as a team, we'll get him on the right track.
Yeah.
And he knows that I love him, and that's the only reason that I'm pushing on him.
I think we kind of help each other in that manner, that there's certain things that we say to each other repeatedly, and then it sticks. So sometimes we need to hear things more than one time in order for it to stick. Sometimes you need to hear it 8, 10 times in order for it to have an impact. And I think as long as the other person knows it's coming from a place of love, it's all good. So there are things that I say to people, like another thing that he'll say to me is he'll be like, "Hey, look, it's going to be great once you stop selling real estate and we can focus 100% of our time and energy in this opportunity." And he'll say that to me almost every time we talk on the phone or almost every time I see him in person, and that's just him like reselling me on the vision basically. And it's the same thing with the pancita. With the pancita, it's the same thing. He's basically like, "Hey, look, it's going to be great once you're able to do this," and he's leading the way in that department. And there's been areas where I lead the way in other things. I'm like, "Hey, look, dude, I've already tested these waters, like, come do this.
Yes.
This is the importance of doing this." And there's areas where he does the same thing for me. In the fitness aspect, he's definitely by far leading the way.
Yeah, and you did it for me even yesterday, where when I was at Ryan and when I finished the podcast, you were like, "Bro, like you need to get on other people's podcasts."
And that's me.
That's you doing the same thing for me and pushing me in that direction.
And when I saw him perform at a podcast, I'm like, dude, that's all you need. But how many times have I said that to you already?
All the time.
Since that time. I've said that to you probably since the podcast yesterday, probably 5, 6 times. Hey, dude, the one thing, just one thing, if you can do one thing that'll have a massive impact on your business, it's just being on more podcasts.
Yeah, so the question is who do you have in your life that challenges you in that way, in a loving manner, to really help you improve and express the highest version of yourself. So I'm appreciative of you, man.
Yeah, and same here. Like some people might get sensitive, like if he's like, "Oh, pancita" or whatever, but it's an accurate assessment of reality. I have a pancita. Like there's no denying it, bro. There is no denying it. So it's like, and there's other areas too. But I think a part of it is like, I've given certain feedback to other individuals, and their ego is so large that they can't see that feedback is coming from a place of, "Hey, I want to help you," or "I want to help improve your life," and they're almost like, "Nah, like he doesn't know what he's doing," or "Hey," like almost like, "No, I don't want to learn from him." Instead of just being like, "You know what? Does this person have a track record of achieving certain results in a certain area, and is what he's saying is true?" And could this actually help me? Non-ego, non-anything. So the whole pancita thing, it's true.
Yeah.
It's not like...
And what you're saying to me is true.
Yeah.
As far as like, hey man, this is an area that you need to focus on. So we both really care about each other, and we want each other to express the highest version of themselves. So the question is who do you have in your life that does that for you? Not from a malicious intent, not from a trying to put you down so they can feel better about themselves, but more like, "Hey bro, I really care about you, and I see what you're capable of, and here's what I see is limiting you in some capacity." And then it just becomes a fun kind of playful ever-evolving thing.
And then for you guys, if you guys want to see an amazing podcast, he did a great podcast with Ryan Pineda. He did another one with Brian Davila, and then he did one with, I think, wealthy creator Justin, which all three of them were like phenomenal. If you want to see like just things explained in a way where they make sense and why he made the decision to go all in on eXp, those are like very good episodes to watch them.
Love it.
Yeah.
Let's go, let's grow.
Because even like the way you broke it down, like when they asked you about eXp, I think they expected you just to be like, oh, I joined eXp because of the rev share, or I joined eXp because of the stock. They did not expect you to go to Naval, talk about the 4 different
forms of leverage,
and they did not expect you to go into Hermosi's like opportunity ladder. So when you went into both of those and then you came up with the filters that you put those things through now, okay, does it compound? Any business opportunity, does it compound? Does it net more than a certain amount
of year?
Leveraged? Is it leveraged?
Where is it on the opportunity ladder?
Does it have impact?
Yeah.
And now if you have a filter of what you put all the opportunities, because otherwise like it's like when you were thinking about starting a title company and then Lars told you, hey, like, does it do this? Does it do that?
Yeah.
Like creating these filters, and it's like, no, it was just the money grab.
Just the money grab.
It's just the money grab. But even when they asked you that, it wasn't like, hey, I just woke up one day and like I saw like somebody move, I think this is a good opportunity. You studied the model and everything that you had done up until that point led up to you making that decision because you understood leverage. You understood the opportunity ladder as well, too.
I put it through all the filters, and when Ryan was challenging me and saying like, hey, is that the best use of your time? And I was like, yeah, well, not only have I put it through all these filters, it's the best use of my time right now.
Yeah.
Now that may change. 3 to 5 years from now, it may change. Just like I shared with him, he shared that he's selling a business.
Yeah.
So at one point, he felt that that was the most valuable use of his time.
And that was such a great response.
And now that's not the case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At some point, it was like, okay, this. But even having those filters, like for me, that's helpful. I'm like, oh, whenever I get business opportunities, have a set of criteria that it meets. Even it's like, does it fit my natural disposition? Mm-hmm. And then if it fits those criterias, then do it. If it doesn't, then don't do it.
Yeah, and there's as people who are entrepreneurial, there's always 10 out of 10 opportunities. So there's all these ways to make money. At the same time, though, I believe in what I'm learning experientially is that if you have those filters and you run them through, and you are left with like 2 opportunities, let's say that compound, that are very highly leveraged. And now you ask yourself a question, which one is more in alignment with my natural disposition? Which one would allow me to do work that's meaningful with people that I like and enjoy? And which one will have a big impact on, as many people as possible? You're left with one. And when you're left with that one,
now you go
all in. So one of the things that we observed with Ryan, what Ryan's doing is amazing. Like I was super impressed with him, really whip smart, understands leverage. He's really coming from a place of contribution. He's trying to build other leaders. He's really exposing a whole group of entrepreneurs to a different kind of mindset and a way of thinking with Wealthy Kingdom and things of that nature. The observation that me and you made is he has a lot of things going on. He has multiple businesses. And we started to ask ourselves a question. It's like, well, if he were to focus on one, say no to all of them, and with his skill set, focus on one, he could create a $200 million company or a $500 million company, right? Yeah. So I think the challenge is, as somebody who's smart, hardworking, and ambitious, to decide what's the thing to stack my time on top of that's worth going all in on.
Yeah.
Because I think if you do that, in a short period of time, you will get outsized results. People externally will be like, how are you doing that? And it's because you've said no to everything else and yes to one thing.
You know what's funny? When you said this is the largest opportunity of our lifetime, and Davilo was like, what? Like, what do you mean?
What do you mean? Yeah.
Like, what do you mean the largest opportunity of our lifetime? And he's like, tell me about it. Like almost like he didn't see it or understand it.
And once I explained it, which was cool, because he came out with smoke.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, I hate agents. I think eXp is a scam. And at the end, what I appreciated is he was open. And once I explained it in a way that was logical and made sense to him, he said, yeah, I don't know if I'm fully sold on it. I understand it better now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what was true for me as far as being able to get yourself to a place of certainty. Because I've heard Grant Cardone say this. He's like, do whatever you have to do to get certain. Because once you're certain, there's a thing that says like once you are certain and kind of make a decision, I'm forgetting the exact quote, but it says like providence moves. And what the word providence means, it's like divine or godly. So it's like things conspire to like move you in that direction. But it's like when you have to get certain. And by me studying Naval, listening to Hermosi, thinking about the opportunity ladders, putting it through filters, bro, I'm certain, like 1,000%. And as such, that allows me to go, okay, this is worth going all in on. And when you get yourself to that place of certainty, you can begin to materialize what it is that you're thinking very quickly, much faster than if you're not certain.
Yeah. And just for our viewers, it's kind of rare that he forgets a quote. Like, that doesn't ever happen.
Yeah.
Even like Ryan noticed it, like, it's like the quotes, he's like, dude, you're like a philosopher or something like that.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy. But let's go get some breakfast.
Let's go get some breakfast, bro. We're hungry. Yeah. People follow him because of he makes it rain. Performance. But his next evolution, and I've been basically like coaching him on that, is that his next evolution is going to require him to do what I'm doing. I think you equip yourself to a point where you have something to give people, and it's a mixture of intellectual intelligence, like knowing how to do stuff, but then emotional intelligence, because what stops people usually is psychology. So it's helping people to see like what's keeping them stuck and then overcome that and work with people one-to-one. So I'll give you an example. So, and she wouldn't mind because she said it in a group, like Jessica Nelson. Jessica has the capacity to build to 1,000. She's a fucking beast. And I kept telling her and pushing her for 6 months. I'm like, you need to get on stages. You need to be doing what I'm doing. And you need to get serious about social. She goes on one podcast with Ryan, tells a story. That's a very impactful story about like domestic violence and stuff she went through. And she's never told that story. I met her 3 years ago and told her, I didn't meet her 3 years ago, but when I ate dinner with her 3 years ago, she told me that story. I'm like, you need to tell that story more. And she was like, well, I feel shame. I'm like, well, what I'm aware of is you should feel pride because you overcame it. And I know it would help a lot of people. It's actually selfish not to tell them. Well, it took her 3 years to get to a place where she was comfortable. She told it on his podcast. She got 2 paid speaking things from that. But then I told her, I'm like, dude, you're just fucking around with it. You need to go hard on this. I'm like, why are you not doing this? Because we have I've been coaching her for like 4 years. I'm like, and she calls me like her big brother. So I'm like, listen, bro. That's how I talk to her. I'm like, listen, bro. Why the fuck aren't you doing this? I've been pushing you. I know this is the way. You know what she actually said to me out loud? And I appreciate her vulnerability. And she said it in front of a bunch of people. She's like, well, I'm 40 and I don't look the way I used to. And I was like, listen. And I said, listen to me. I appreciate your vulnerability in what you're saying. And this is the leadership part. I'm like, there was a time in your life where you got a lot of your self-esteem from the way you look externally. And now instead of people saying, I want to look at you, what they're saying is, I want to hear what you have to say. Now, which one would you prefer? But I recognize with coaching clients, okay, no amount of external success can make up for failure at home, period. We were telling ourselves a story that it could, but it can't. And then the second thing I'm aware of is that I remember there was a time where like, you know, as somebody who's like aggressive and hard charging, let's say you have like a trophy room. Trophy room might have watches. It might have like a car or a house. You know what I realized? And I was embarrassed. And when I realized this, like my relationship with my wife is not in the trophy room. It should be the fucking mantle. It should be the top of the whole thing. Because what I'm aware of is all those other things are small doses of like, oh, this is cool. That is a reoccurring source of joy forever, in perpetuity. Pulls people towards you and it pushes. So on the podcast yesterday, one of the guys, we were talking about how in The Wealthy Investor, he was a hard charging agent that was in the same organization that Sohail and I and others were a part of. And he got all the money, all the deals and everything, but he felt empty and had a lot of anxiousness. And all the accoutrements of success, trophies, like houses, cars, watches. And what I said to him is like, I said this on purpose for this reason. I said, you know, culturally, the way our society defines manhood is in 3 ways. One is physical ability. So everybody's posting about their fucking workouts. 2 is sexual prowess. and 3 is making money. So what happens is you have a bunch of little boys running around trying to prove themselves as men. And I don't think any one of those has anything to do with being a man. He was like, what do you think? What do you believe being a man consists of? I said, 1, being able to give love and being able to receive it. And 2 is having a mission or a purpose that's bigger than yourself. But when I make that statement, people who vibe with that, it'll be like magnet. People who don't, it'll push them away. Like, it's full of shit. I don't think it's that, blah, blah, blah. You're soft, like whatever. But that's okay. I did that on purpose. Media is unmatched in its ability to do that. Because I can give hundreds of thousands of people the opportunity to decide if they know, like, and trust what I believe. And know, like, and trust me. And it's relatively almost free. It's inexpensive. That's unbelievable. Like I shared with you, I had a video this week at 250,000 views, but that's like 4 football stadiums, 3 football stadiums of 80,000 people. That's unbelievable. Where else can you do that? You can't. So I view part of my role is not like, is there a part of me that thinks it's cool that people recognize me? Sure, I'm human. It's really not what it's about though, because I know that as I get bigger, it makes it easier for everybody else to attract. Because then when you talk to somebody and they're like, yeah, you know, I could get you on a call with Aaron, and they're like, oh yeah, I know him. And it makes it so much easier. Like from a mentor-mentee perspective, he should be farther ahead than I am at when he's my age. Because he had me. That's how it should be. Like he told me when we were on a vacation in Wyoming, he's like, bro, I told my wife, like, we wouldn't be here if I didn't know you. Because you taught me how to sell. And I was like, bro, I wouldn't be here if you gave me a gift, which is that you helped me get out of production because you brought me the opportunity. So it's like, yeah, I changed your life, but you changed mine too.
Is that what your name looks like?
And Pineda actually said to me out loud, he was like, you know, most of the time when I sit down with realtors, I'm not really excited to talk to them. You're the first realtor to ever mention to me Naval, the almanac, because we got into that. So, yeah, it just made me realize, like, I'm ready for that. I could do that. Well, and they just say the same shit. Here's how many homes I've sold, blah, blah. Like, they're not thinking like leverage and kind of the opportunity ladder and all the stuff we talk about at Freedom. They're not thinking that way. It was a really good conversation. He said, so the game for you is no longer money. The game is time and impact. And your greatest impact is no longer sitting in living rooms. It's teaching other people how to do it. And when you do deals, he's like, do you have a heart for it? I'm like, no. He's like, do you need the money? I'm like, no. He's like, so you're basically taking opportunities away from people who want to do it and need it. I was like, oh shit. But do you see how that's leadership? I see what's sticking. And I kept asking her questions because she gave me like this other bullshit. I'm like, bro, that's not it. Until you get down to it. But now that I know what that is, but I also know what her dream is. Her dream is financial freedom and independence and to provide a certain lifestyle for her children. So I'm like, bro, this is going to allow your dream to come true. So now I'm not like pushing you to a place you don't want to be. You're telling me you fucking want to go there. And now I can help her to make her dream come true inside the ecosystem. But now it's like, what's stopping you? It's insecurity. So now I can help her overcome that. That's leadership. That's how you build a leader. Good. And Brian, they told me before I went in the room, they're like, bro, he's going to come at you with smoke. I'm like, fucking bring the smoke, bro. But by the end, because he was like, I think eXp's a scam. I was like, all right, well, I appreciate that. And then we got into it about, well, the podcaster did. At the beginning, he's like, I don't like real estate agents, and I think eXp is a scam. It turned out fantastically. Towards the end, he was asking me questions, bro.
Oh my gosh. You know what's funny? I've done hundreds of expired listing phone calls. I've never asked that question the way you just asked it.
Wow, well, let me be the first to tell you,